In these present economic times, more and more people are returning to the tried and true traditions of the past. With the advent of the slow food movement, organic gardening, and the return to canning and preserving. In our next segment, we'll learn how these traditions are being handed down from generation to generation in a new television program entitled The Secrets of Granny's Kitchen, hosted by Terry Gorton. The program focuses on the history and unique recipes of the grannies who are keeping these traditions alive.
Hi, I'm Terry Gorton, and welcome to The Secrets of Granny's Kitchen. This show is about preserving our American heritage traditions. It's about our grannies and our great-grannies, who really were the pioneers of many of the fastest-growing trends in America today. Sustainable communities, organic gardening, home foods preservation. Granny was there from the very beginning. You know, my granny was an incredible woman, and she had a big garden that over just a summer's growing season, she could turn into the most incredible array of foods to eat over a whole 12-month year. We're losing a lot of those traditions today. A lot of that knowledge is going to be lost. We, of course, have cookbooks, and we can have Granny's recipes written down, but there is nothing that can compare with the time spent sitting in Granny's kitchen, learning her secrets from her personally. And today, we've got a chance to do just that.
And the secret to good applesauce is apples. Tasty apples, but a good mixture. And the more apple varieties you have in your applesauce, the more variation you're going to get in the flavor. And then cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, whatever. I just usually use cinnamon, sugar, and apples.
So your secret really is the apples that you start with. Well, that makes sense coming from you.
If you don't like to eat them, you might not like them in applesauce, unless you like a tart apple and really sweeten it up. So we're going to fill the hopper with cooked apples. And for this, I just cut them in pieces, maybe quarter them. I don't even take the seeds out.
I see that. They have all the seeds and stems, and the peels are still in here.
And that's why this strainer is going to do the job for us.
And now you're just pushing it down.
Just crank it through. And the liquid always comes out first. In the end will be a thicker pulp.
Okay, so now you have all this beautiful apple puree in this pot. What's next?
I'm going to add the sugar to it that I want and some cinnamon. And here's where you can be creative with your own tastes and needs. You can put as much cinnamon, as much sugar in it as you want, or no sugar. But I like sugar in mine.
Well, I'm going to follow you over here.
Like I say, everybody's going to be different. And I like quite a bit of cinnamon, so I probably put a couple of tablespoons in anyway.
You know, you can't smell this, but I can. And oh my God, is this the smell of home? And my gosh, I just happen to have a spoon in my pocket. May I?
Oh, of course you may. What do you think? More sugar? More cinnamon?
God, it is perfect. Oh, that is so good. This doesn't taste anything like the stuff that comes out of the store. Oh.
Well, okay, let's put some in a jar then.
So Betty Ann, I want to thank you so much for inviting us into your house. This ranch is amazing. Oh my gosh. Your family settled here a long time ago.
Yes, in the late 1800s. My great-grandparents were the first ones to live here.
Wow. So well over 100 years you've been in this valley.
Right, right.
So did your grandparents live in this house? Did they build it? What's
yes,
the history?
they actually did. Originally, my great-grandfather had a store up in Julian, and of course that was back when the mining days were. And then the family lived out of town on a ranch, and my grandmother got tired of being home alone with the children all week long, and so they moved down here and opened up the store down here. And of course the road out in front, Highway 78, is the original wagon road, more or less. And the wagons came by here and got their supplies and went on up to the mining country.
Was this also a peach orchard?
Yes,
here?
Originally all of the land down below here was in orchards, and Mainly peaches. My father had some peaches and pears, plums, apricots, but the main thing was the non-irrigated peaches. And when I was growing up, my dad picked the peaches, and my mother and I would pack them, and then in the evening I would go with my dad and we would haul them by pickup load down to San Diego to the wholesale market on Market Street. And that was always so much fun to.
And is this your label?
This is the label, and my 3 boy cousins and I used to get to paste these labels on the wooden boxes.
This is wonderful. You know, Betty Ann, I am so excited to learn your recipe for this. I come from a big family and a number of brothers that are going to be really excited to have me make this. So tell me, what do you do? What's first?
First ingredient is the curing salt.
So about how much meat do you have here?
Oh, that's 4 pounds.
4 pounds.
4 pounds.
Okay.
It has to have some fat in it. You don't want to use the real lean hamburger.
Okay.
This is the first thing to go in is 1/4 cup of curing salt, and you can buy it at a custom butcher shop. Most of them would have it because they use it in corning beef and doing things like that. And then it calls for 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder. Now this is garlic powder, not garlic salt. Okay, and the next thing is 1.5 teaspoons of pepper. And the last thing is your 2 tablespoons of liquid smoke. Now I'm going to stir it. And I like to mix it with this wooden utensil, and then eventually you just have to get your hands into it to make sure that all your seasonings are mixed in.
But that already smells like barbecue. I can smell the smoke.
You can smell it.
Yes.
And wait till you put it in the oven. And it hasn't been in the oven very long before it really starts smelling good. And you bake it at a very low temperature because you're actually going to be cooking it for 4 hours to make sure it's cooked all the way through. Because of the slow cooking, it's got to have some fat to keep the moisture content up. Now I'm going to take the saran wrap and just cover it gently to keep the air out. And now it's ready to refrigerate for 24 hours.
Okay,
Thank
let me
you,
stick this in the
Terry.
refrigerator for you.
Thank you. Now, Terry, there's another bowl in the refrigerator identical to the one you just put in there that's ready for me to shape.
There you go.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, now what I like to do is take my spatula and I just cut across it, making 4 different cuts. Now I've divided into the 4 pieces, and I kind of squish it together, push it together with my hands, getting it in the log shape. And then I put it in the saran and cover it up, and then I just kind of twirl it to twist the ends, and then I roll it back and forth.
You've done this a time or two.
Okay, now Terry, if you want to hand me the cookie sheet, it's ready to go. And as you will notice, I've lined the cookie sheet with foil because it just makes it so much easier for cleanup. The foil catches the grease drippings, and then I can just pick up the foil and throw the whole thing away. Now it's ready to go in the oven at 2 1/4, 225 degrees for 4 hours.
Okay.
Anyway, I made some, and they're in the upper oven, so if you want to get that tray for me.
You bet. If I get to taste this.
Great, and you can see what the final
Oh,
process
yes.
is.
Look at that.
Well, see, it isn't just real pretty, but it'll taste good. What I like to do is just very carefully blot the fat off to make sure there's no excess fat. You want to do it when they're warm. And then I just let them rest until they're cool. And then when they're nice and cool, I wrap them in foil and refrigerate them. This is ready to serve, Terry. If you want to hand me the little cutting board.
This one?
We'll take it off the cookie tray and put it over there. And as I said, my family like it cold, but there's so many things you can do other than just eating it with cheese and crackers. It makes wonderful sandwiches. Put a little horseradish or mustard and mayonnaise on your bread. And a lot of people like to serve it warm.
Now,
are you ready for it?
Yes, I'm going to get in there between slices because this just looks too wonderful to try. Oh, it's really got a firm, very sausage-like texture.
Yes.
Oh, that is so delicious.
And I just wrap it in foil, and when I give it as gifts, I'll put a bow on it, or a stick label or something.
This is
Christmassy.
Fantastic.
But as I say, hamburger is so versatile. The many things you can do with it.
Linda, thank you so much for inviting us into your home and providing this great warm fire on such a cool day today. It's just beautiful up here. Now you're pretty famous for your okra pickles, I understand.
The pickled okra, and I do the pickled dilly beans, which are really, really good.
And are we going to get a chance to sample some of those later and hear some of your secrets?
Yeah.
And what else do you have for us today?
One of my favorites is my cowboy candy.
Cowboy candy.
It's jalapenos with onions, sugar, vinegar, mustard seed, and celery seed.
Oh my goodness.
And you cook it down and it almost gets like I don't want to say a jam or a jelly, but it just gets kind of thick. And you pour it over cream cheese, or you could use it for baking chicken or anything, and it's one of my favorites.
Oh, it sounds fantastic, fantastic. Come back to this cowboy candy, because that sounds so fascinating. And I want to know, will you share your secret on how to make that with us today?
I will, and just so happens I have some cooking on the stove, and it's about ready, but I still need to add a few more ingredients, so I'll be more than happy to show you.
Awesome. Lead me the way to your kitchen. I can't wait. So Linda, you've promised to share your secret with cowboy candy. Now, all I see are all these really hot peppers. Are these jalapenos? And how are you going to turn this into something that we can eat?
Well, I have a secret, and it's right here. It's sugar, and sugar helps with taking the heat out of the chili.
Your secret is out, and everybody is going to want to try this. Well, I hope you've enjoyed yourself as much as I have today. It has been so informative and so fun. And the flavors, oh my God, I wish you could have tasted them along with me. And I'm inspired. I'm going to grow a bigger garden. I'm going to blend apples for the most delicious applesauce. And cowboy candy, you bet that's going to be on my shelf. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed yourself, and please join us again for the secrets of Granny's Kitchen.